Raise a glass, let the worry slip away. Liquid lunch, we're living for today. There's Troy laughing with his gin and a grin, telling stories about where he's been. Boomer's got whiskey, he's loosening his tie, chasing dreams under a midday sky. The bartender knows us, he's mixing with flair. Every sip's a moment we're happy to share. Liquid lunch, pour it smooth, let it flow. Friends round the table where the good times grow. Raise a glass, let the worry slip away. Liquid lunch, we're living for today. The clock don't matter, we're lost in the vibe. Jazz in the air, feel the soul come alive. From martinis to bourbon, we're riding the wave. Stealing this hour, it's the freedom we crave. The sun's still shining, but we're in our zone. This bar's our shelter, our temporary home. One more round before the world calls us back. Savor the moment, keep the blues in the rack. We'll laugh and we'll toast till the afternoon fades. Memories made in these liquid escapades. Liquid lunch, pour it smooth, let it flow. Friends round the table where the good times grow. Raise a glass, let the worry slip away. Liquid lunch, we're living for today. So here's to the daylight, the drinks and the fun. Our liquid lunch, till the next one comes. With a wink and a smile, we'll be back real soon. Chasing that jazz under the high noon.
Salud and welcome. Happy Wednesday. Wow, we are at the midway point of the week. How cool is that? Salute. And if I could get a sound check, please let me know, because I was having problems with my sound yesterday. At least that's what you reported to me. So let me know how it sounds. First up was Lynn Green. She was commenting that as of the time that she was here, she said, if my comment is still here, by the time you read this, I'll be 60% through my day and 2/3 of the way through her week. And yes, it was still here a little while ago, about an hour and a half ago, when I was doing some stuff in the studio. And then 20 minutes later, gone. By the time I saw Big Al Presents comments saying, hope everyone has a wonderful WTF Wednesday. Have a great stream, Troy. Thank you so much. Like I said, as of about 20 minutes between the time I left my first comment and this, Lynn's comment dropped off, but I did catch it in time. Mech Paul! It's WTF time. Feeling better today after traveling the river of pain. Like, share, subscribe, and become a member. Do all the clicky things. Yes. So I'm assuming that if you're feeling better, you had the snippy snip, and you're now bandaged and healing, I believe. I hope that's the case. And I'm glad you're here today, Mark, because you are going to be particularly interested in this WTF I'm going to go on a bit of a rant about today. Netter calls me the love of her life. I love you too, my dear. She says, like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, become a member, gift a membership if you are feeling particularly generous. Yes, that would always be a wonderful, generous thing to. Okay, so Mark, and Big Al say 5x5, so not even, and Netter too, so not even any static. Good. This song always has good vibes. Hard not to sing along. Yes, it should be in. I have and I'm going to be putting up some more too. I have some a music list, a playlist of last call tunes. Um, so the opening music for this for last call, the closing music. What I haven't gotten up is the tune that I use for the um, Doctor Who stream, which I need to put up too, because I would like for people to be able to make use of that if they would like to for Doctor Who type related streams. Let's see. Uh, Connie Cleary, the Bird Woman of YouTube and Fluff Chick Productions. Welcome, welcome. Good to see you. Geek Flag with Nate Knows says like, share, subscribe, comment, become a member, and if you were going to give a super chat of $5 or more, why not give a gift a membership instead to make our family grow? Yes, please do all the gifty things, all the clicky things. Nate is at work. I'm still coughing, and my knee still feels jacked up. How is everyone else doing? Well, just take it easy on the knee and I guess the breathing. Quick draw with a scalpel with no warning. Ouch. Well, that's what you got to do. What you got to do, I guess. Um, Yeah, I know that pain though, Mark, and boy, sometimes just going in without the shot and just doing what needs to be done hurts less than what you're going through walking on it. So let's go ahead and get to this WTF. And like I said, I do believe that Mark is going to be particularly interested because I think this hits him closer to home than many others. Um, where is it? Share screen. Dean Cain rejected by GalaxyCon over a difference in values, sparking questions about conservative voices at fan conventions. Wow. You're still doing that kind of stuff, right? Oh, it was your thumb. I thought it was a toenail. Okay. My apologies. Well, either way, I understand that kind of pain. But yeah, they're still doing this. They're still deciding that because we don't agree with you politically, we're going to keep you out of our venue. We are going to deny all of your fans access to you, and because we're the arbiters of truth and righteousness. Um, let's get to this. Tell me this isn't a WTF. Oops, I knew I was going to do that. Sorry, Marvin. Let's get to this. Actor Dean Cain, best known for portraying Superman in Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman, says he has been rejected from appearing at GalaxyCon with the convention citing a vague difference in values as the reason. I think the fans need to demand they be less vague about that. If you're going to prevent me from seeing somebody that I would like to see, you better have a damn good reason. You better have a damn good reason. Yes, this is what should be happening. A class action lawsuit. I absolutely agree. Especially if people have already paid for admittance based on him being there. Cain made the situation public. I don't blame him. After learning he would not be, and you have to, right? If you are expecting to be there, you're telling your fans, "I'm planning to go," and then you're told you can't go. You have to tell people. After learning he would not be booked for a future GalaxyCon event, sparking debate over whether political ideology is increasingly influencing guest selection at fan conventions. It is. Anyone who goes to these conventions knows that's the case. GalaxyCon cites a difference in values. According to Kane, GalaxyCon informed him that he would not be invited due to a mismatch in values. The explanation, however, stopped there. No specific beliefs or statements were identified as problematic. So this is from his X post. This is how they try to blacklist. What are the values that I hold which are not aligned with GalaxyCon's values? Please be specific, Sarah and GalaxyCon. Other celebrity names redacted by me. In regards to Dean Cain, although I have a soft spot in my heart because he sent me an autographed postcard in the mail when I was like 10 years old, GalaxyCon's values don't align with Dean and someone else and someone else. Also reaches out to us quite often, but we are also going to pass on him. Kane has been outspoken about his conservative values in the past, including his positions on faith, law enforcement, and national politics. He questioned why those views would disqualify him for a pop culture convention centered on freedom, nostalgia, and entertainment. That's an excellent point. That's an excellent question. Are you against law and order? Do you like anarchy and the breaking of laws? Is that what you represent, GalaxyCon? Just saying. Kane seeks clarification from convention leadership. Rather than attacking the staff member who delivered the decision, Kane made it clear that the individual was simply the messenger. He insisted he instead directed his question towards GalaxyCon's leadership, asking for clarity from con owner Mike Broder about which values were deemed incompatible. I don't blame Sarah for being the messenger here. The owner of GalaxyCon is named Mike Broder. I'd love to hear his explanation regarding my values. Absolutely. Kane publicly requested specifically noting that vague explanations only invite confusion and speculation. To date, GalaxyCon has not issued a public response outlining its concerns. I'll be honest with you, that kind of vagueness really does invite a lawsuit. Not just the class action suit that fans could bring, but Dean Cain himself might want to consider talking to an attorney about whether or not he's being discriminated against. When you don't know, you bring a lawsuit so that there can be disclosure, right? You want disclosure so that they can produce memos and explain exactly what values they think are not aligned, and then try to justify that under non-discrimination law. That would be a very interesting case. Kane later confirmed that he spoke privately with Broder. He describes the discussion as respectful and civil, emphasizing that the conversation itself was productive, even though the two disagree on certain points. Spoke with Mike, appreciate the conversation. We agreed to disagree on certain things, but it turns out our values aren't so far apart. I encourage folks to speak with each other, even when they disagree on some things, and the world will be a better place. The former Superman who stated that he believed their values were not as far apart as initially suggested and encouraged people to engage in dialogue with those they disagree with rather than shutting down conversation. Despite the exchange, the decision remained unchanged. Yeah. So a fan asked, so are you invited or not? Nope, I'm not. When asked directly whether the conversation resulted in, yeah, so there you go. You just saw that. He remains barred from appearing at GalaxyCon. I would still say he's still got a suit here, you know. So you're discriminating is what you basically are doing, and I want you to in a court of law to admit to that and force them in a public setting to disclose what their values are, what values they find objectionable, so that fans know that if they hold similar values to Dean Cain, they should not be attending this convention. They're not wanted. GalaxyCon promotes Stars of Superman event while excluding Dean Cain. At the same time, Dean Cain remains barred from the appearing at GalaxyCon. The convention is actively promoting a Stars of Superman event centered on the legacy of the Man of Steel. Honestly, if I'd like to think that anyone who ever appeared in a Superman production, if they saw this, would say, you know what? If Dean Cain can't go, I can't go either. Even if they didn't share his values. Because remember, when there are people in this world that exclude certain people, and treat them as non-human, it's just a matter of time before eventually they'll get around to you and find something they don't like about you. It always happens. People think that they can conform to avoid those kinds of repercussions. It never works. It never works. Intersectionality always divides people. It never brings people together. At the same time, Dean Cain remains barred from appearances at GalaxyCon. Oh yeah, I just said that. In recent promotional posts, GalaxyCon highlighted a special mail-in autograph event featuring Tom Welling, Brandon Routh, and Tyler Hoechlin. Was he the one from the CW Superman thing? 3 actors who portrayed Superman across different eras of television and film. Yeah, well, screw this. I wouldn't want anything to do with it. The promotion frames the event as a celebration of Superman's enduring legacy, describing it as 3 generations of steel and encouraging fans to honor the history of the character through exclusive autographs and collectibles. Notably absent from that lineup is Cain, who played Superman for 4 seasons as on Lois and Clark: The New Adventures of Superman, one of the most prominent and long-running television portrayals of the character. GalaxyCon has not publicly clarified which of Cain's views led to this rejection, nor has it addressed whether political ideology plays a role in guest selection. Of course it does. Of course it does. The incident has reignited debate until or unless they publicly say otherwise. As Dean said, their silence just invites speculation. If you have values, you should speak them out. If someone disagrees with your values, you should share that. Be proud of your values. If you're hiding your values, are they worth having? Who's on the right side here? The incident has reignited debate over whether pop culture conventions, once considered politically neutral spaces, are increasingly filtering guests based on ideological alignment rather than professional relevance or fan interest. For now, the facts are straightforward. Dean Cain asked for clarity, engaged respectfully with GalaxyCon leadership, and remains excluded, with the explanation ending at a single word: values. And exclusion is a key word here, right? These are the people that claim to be so inclusive. So inclusive, in fact, that they have created these DEI initiatives to check boxes to make sure that as many groups of people are included as possible. But this is why I've said many, many times, once you start grouping people in these intersectional groups, that you claim you're doing for the purpose of inclusion, you are specifically excluding. You're saying, I'm checking off all of these boxes. That means any boxes I haven't thought of don't get included. In fact, there are certain boxes we're purposely eliminating. That's how it works. That's how it works. And if your values are being inclusive, you better look in a mirror, you dumbasses. Stop going to them because of the rhetoric being tolerated and some actors acting like you should bow to their beliefs. Yeah, this is probably the biggest problem, and this has always been a problem with celebrities, and it was always the litmus test that I used to determine whether I was going to continue being a fan. They say never meet your heroes. I would say first get a better criteria for who you choose as a hero. Just being a celebrity is certainly not enough reason. And secondly, yeah, I encourage you to meet them, and then see if they merit your adoration. I've met people that I thought were pretty cool people, and then when I met them in person, they turned out to be complete assholes. Okay, well, you don't need me supporting you ever again. And then there are others that I've met that were incredibly nice, shockingly so. Like I was like, wow, yeah, pleased to meet. They were pleased to meet me, you know, and acted as if I was someone special. In fact, one particular celebrity I'm thinking of said it exactly that way. He goes, "Oh no, it's an honor to meet you. You're the reason that I do what I do." In fact, that's kind of the attitude I've kind of taken on this channel. When I tell you guys, you are the reason that I do what I do, it's because of this particular celebrity that said this. Your fandom, your being a fan of mine is what enables me to do what I do. So, I mean, think about it. Superman is so super powerful, right? But what if all the people he saved were the source of his power? That's not the case in lore, but what if it was? That's kind of what these celebrities, the ones that are keyed into the reality of it, are saying. You know, Dean Cain is one of those kinds of celebrities. I've met him. He is really that nice a guy. But anyway, I digress. Let me get back to your conversations. Whether you're liberal or conservative, this con, I love how your voice to text, uh, uh, sees a homophone and goes for the Star Trek interpretation rather than the fandom one. That's kind of funny. Convention, this con should be boycotted because what they're doing is wrong. If it was the other way around, it would be just as wrong. It's just wrong. Exactly right. It's exactly right. Um, I always fall back to the quote, and I don't even know who said it, so I can't give attribution. But I disagree with what you say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it. And that's the way it should be. Drive by, like, and share for the and hail midday mixologist. Thank you so much, Joe's Atmosphere. I know you are a wonderful supporter by sharing out the stream. You always are. Send in the chat. Yes, if you've caught that post Raisin Bran commercial with William Shatner, it's hysterical. It is peak William Shatner. How does he refer to himself? Will Shat? Will Shat? And I was like, that's not cool. And then as the commercial was going, I'm like, oh, that's the whole point. Because there's this one line where he appears on top of a car or something like that to tell everybody about, getting fiber in their diet. And someone goes, look, Will Shat on a car. Double meaning. It requires you to know that shat is the past tense of to defecate. So Will shat on a car, and Fiber helps you to have shat. See? The first time any man's freedom is trodden on, we are all damaged. Yes, absolutely true. I believe Jean-Luc Picard quoted that speech, or that quote. Quoted that quote? Yeah, that's right. That's grammatically correct. Hail all, smash the like button, and enjoy the show, says Jonathan Conroy. Yes, please do. And good afternoon to you as well. Yeah, it is. It is discrimination. And this is the problem. The only way discrimination works, the only reason it exists, is you have to understand the mentality. It's not just the evil, I don't like you. That's not what discrimination really is. That's the outcome of something. It starts with, I am the good guy, you are the bad guy, regardless of the reason. It's because of what I believe, it's because of who I am. I am somehow superior and you are inferior. That's what discrimination is. And it's particularly obnoxious when it's something you don't have any control over, and it's not something that really is better or worse. I'm better than you, Mark, because you're Jewish. I'm better than you, Nate, because you're black. That implies that being white and non-Jewish, I know there's a word for non-Jewish, Gentile, I suppose, somehow makes me superior. It doesn't. In no measurable way does that make anyone better. But that's one kind of discrimination. The other kind of discrimination is just deciding I am a more virtuous person because of the thing I believe, and you are less so. You are, in fact, evil because you don't share my views. That is arrogance. And you know what they say about making an assumption. You're assuming that you are correct. If you never reevaluate your belief systems, what is it? What is the quote? Of all the truths in the world, if you choose one and follow it exclusively, the truth becomes a lie and you become a fanatic. That's what these people are. They are fanatics. They are iconoclastic fanatics. Chris Gore from Film Threat is being ghosted by LA Comic Con. See, and this is why I think that this is where entrepreneurship comes in. This is where, if I was Dean Cain, I would say, you know what? Go ahead. I'll pass on this one. Let them have their con. And then I would reach out to Brandon Routh and to Tom Welling and the other Supermans and say, let's do a Superman con. Let's do a Superman con in Metropolis, Illinois. Get as many people as we can. You know, Tom, reach out to Michael Rosenbaum. Get everybody you can together from Smallville. We can promote whatever Smallville, because I know they're working on some Smallville stuff that they've got that they've been trying to get off the ground. You know, I'll get, you know, can you imagine? He reaches out, hey, Terry Hatcher, can you come join me for a Superman thing in Metropolis? You know, that would be brilliant. That would be brilliant. And because of the nature of doing conventions in Metropolis, Illinois, they don't have like a big convention center where you have to pay admission. It's technically a free convention. You pay like a la carte, like you would pay individually for autographs, you know, or merch at their particular tables that the celebrities have. But you don't pay to go and walk around and, you know, enjoy yourself at the it's basically an outdoor con in the summertime, because that's how Metropolis operates. And And there can't possibly be any discrimination there because nobody is deciding you can or can't go to Metropolis, Illinois. You just can't. It doesn't work that way. Um, so that would be a great way for them to fight back against these institutionalized conventions. Then there's nothing exclusive. And how cool would that be, right? All the Supermans that are going to this GalaxyCon get together with Dean Cain, and they take like a group photo, and then they all autograph it, and that's an exclusive you could only get at that event. GalaxyCon can, them. He also pointed out that much of the event rooms are being set aside for political and social ideology. Yeah, that's why I pay to go to a convention. So just remember, when you pay to go to these iconoclastic, ideological propaganda cons, that's what you're paying for. That's where your money's going. Your money's going to socialists, to communists that are trying to literally overturn our government and our way of doing things here. No, the Star Trek spelling was on purpose because that's how they're behaving. Oh, I see what you're saying. Good point, Nate. Good point. Penny. Good to see you, Penny. So glad that you're here. Always good to see you. I disapprove of what you say, but I will defend to the death your right to say it. It's a famous statement by Voltaire. Okay. Expressing the principle of free speech, though Voltaire never said it. Yeah, it's attributed to, it's about Voltaire. Yeah, somebody else said it about Voltaire. That's very interesting. Yeah. And that's why, especially these older quotes, I knowing who said it, I think is less important than remembering the quote, or at least remembering the idea, right? Because the wisdom is preserved. The person who said it, that's just showing off that, facts. That's meaningless. The wisdom is what's important, and how you embody it and put that into life. Attributed to Evelyn Beatrice Hall in her 1906 book, The Friends of Voltaire. The quote encapsulates Voltaire's spirit of defending liberty and tolerance. Good. I like that. The Brain Chew. Welcome, my friend. Hi, everybody. Good to see you. Yes. Peace. Think. Thumbs up. When you don't question your own beliefs, then you belong to a cult. That's exactly right. That is exactly right. And you're not, you can't claim to be engaged in any kind of critical thinking. You just can't, because the very basis of critical thinking is being critical about your own presumptions, right? You can't establish something as true and then forget about it, right? I mean, there are certain universal constants, but nowadays the so-called high-minded thinkers are questioning, the demonstrably provable truths of the universe, right? Sexual dimorphism, gravity, the earth being round. I mean, things like this that are very basic and demonstrable, people are questioning, you know? They're even questioning whether, any truth is the whole idea of my truth and your truth. Well, it gets really, really precarious trying to defend a value system if there is no objective truth, right? Defend my truth. Well, your truth is just happens to be very evil and very exclusionary. But yeah, so Wednesdays, among other things, are the day where I have the most new promotions, because we Tuesday's a busy day for streams, and that means I've the promotions for those streams need to be updated. So let me go ahead and share with you what I've got coming up for the week, and then we'll get back to any more talks about this or anything else you want to talk to right after that. And meanwhile, I'm going to refill my drink. Be right back in just about 3 minutes and a few odd seconds.
You are watching Liquid Lunch, streaming every weekday at noon Central, 1 p.m. Eastern. Let's sip together.
This week on Netter's Network, Netter catches up with Charlotte Nightstar, a fresh and upcoming songwriter, short story writer, novelist, poet, and podcaster based in the Pacific Northwest of the U.S. She's already coming out strong as a literary artist, and she still has a ways to go to further shine her personality and talent to the world, which she'll do on Netter's Network this Thursday at 9 Central, 10 Eastern.
This week on Saturday Night at the Movies, a narcissistic, self-centered weatherman finds himself in a time loop on Groundhog Day. Bill Murray and Andie MacDowell star in the 1993 romantic comedy classic Groundhog Day. This Saturday at 9 Central, 10 Eastern on Netter's Network Retro Cinema.
Every Sunday evening, Aged Boomer and Last Call with Troy Pacelli bring you the rundown of the week's geek news, or at least what they think is interesting. You may have heard about it elsewhere, but Boomer and Pacelli spin it like only two old geezers can. It's Geeky Geezers, every Sunday evening at 8 Central, 9 Eastern.
This week on Last Call Presents Doctor Who, the crew of the TARDIS find themselves and their ship acting very strangely indeed. Blame runs high for the ship's unusual behaviour, until the Doctor realises the TARDIS itself may be trying to warn them that they might be on the edge of destruction. This Tuesday at 11:30 p.m. Central, 12:30 Eastern.
This week on Live from Sparkwood and 21, after 3 weeks viewing the extended fan edit of Fire Walk With Me combined with the missing pieces, the superfans will spend an episode doing a deep dive into this prequel film in relation to the 3 seasons of the show and the greater lore. Join us for some damn fine coffee and pie to die for, and good conversation. This Tuesday at 7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern on Deleted Scenes and Affiliates.
This week on Last Call presents the return of Sherlock Holmes, believed dead after his fatal encounter with Professor Moriarty 3 years earlier. Sherlock Holmes returns to England to foil a plot to murder him by a former Moriarty gang member and assist Watson in solving a locked room murder from the empty house. This Tuesday at 9 Central, 10 Eastern on Last Call.
We now return to our liquid lunch.
Nate says there is no such thing as my truth or your truth. There is just the truth. It is immutable fact of the universe. That's true. I would say this, though, that there is objective truth, but our awareness of it is never guaranteed. For example, there is an objective truth to the way the universe works, but we're still uncovering exactly what that is. For a long time, it was believed that the Earth was the center of the universe, until we had evidence to the contrary. But even now, just theories like relativity tell us that the universe is really big and in motion. And when you're on an object that's in motion, it gets, and there is no, third point, right? You have two objects in the air moving around. They're moving in relative to you as well as to each other. There is no you in the universe. There's only relative objects. So I could be hurtling, through the universe at a speed, but that speed has to be relative to other objects. Am I actually moving, or is the entire universe moving in relationship to me? Anyway, that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. The truth does exist, but sometimes the truth is not knowable. And that's also the height of arrogance, assuming that you know the truth. You always have to reevaluate. That's what I'm getting at. The truth is objective, as you say, Nate, but you always have to double check and make sure that you actually have keyed into the actual truth, or if you are believing a misrepresentation of the truth. There are three sides to every story: what one person said, what the other person said, and somewhere in the middle is usually where the truth lies. That is sound reason. That is sound reason. Want to get back to that Park Place. They've got another one that had me going WTF last week, and this one gives me a little bit of Schadenfreude. Billie Eilish's Stolen Land Grammy speech sparked backlash from native tribes whose ancestral land her mansion is built on. A lot of people were saying that as soon as she said it. It's like, oh, really? Oh, really? This is stolen land? You mean including the land you own? What are you going to do about that? It does no good to virtue signal unless you're actually going to do something about it. This is what I've always said. All these hypocrites who talk about stolen land. Okay. Oh, I guess I should go to the shared screen. That makes a little bit more sense. There you go. That makes a little bit more sense. You're going to complain about stolen land while you own a portion of that stolen land. You purchased it. You purchased it knowing it was stolen. That makes you complicit in the crime, assuming it is a crime, assuming you actually believe it's a crime, right? I'll read a little bit of this. I won't get into it too much. Eilish made an attempt at political grandstanding about stolen land during the Grammy Awards and was boomeranged in an uncomfortable way. The Native American tribe, whose ancestral land her Los Angeles mansion sits on, has now publicly responded to her remark. The controversy stems from Eilish's Grammy acceptance speech, during which the singer denounced U.S. immigration enforcement and framed America itself as illegitimate. Oh, really? Oh, really? During her speech, Billie Eilish insisted no one is illegal on stolen land. That line was immediately embraced by activists online, but it also prompted the response from the Tongva tribe, the indigenous group identified as the original inhabitants of the Los Angeles basin. According to the New York Post, the Tongva tribe confirmed that Eilish's $3 million Los Angeles home does, in fact, sit on land considered part of their ancestral territory. The Tongva are often referred to as the first Angelinos, of Los Angeles, and their land historically covered much of what is now modern-day Los Angeles. While the tribe acknowledged the sentiment behind Eilish's comment, they also made it clear that the singer has not contacted them directly despite owning property on their land. A spokesperson for the Tongva tribe told the Daily Mail in comments republished by the New York Post, Eilish has not contacted the tribe directly regarding her property. We do value the instance when public figures provide visibility to the true history of this country. However, the spokesman made clear that simply invoking the idea of stolen land without naming the tribe was insufficient. Good point. Good point. It is our hope that that in future discussions, the tribe can explicitly be referenced to ensure the public understand that the greater Los Angeles basin remains Gabrielino Tongva territory, they said. When virtue signaling meets reality, the tribe's comments illustrate a growing tension between celebrity activism and real-world accountability. Eilish's speech framed America broadly as stolen land, but critics quickly noted that she continues to live and profit from property located on land she herself describes as illegitimately taken. And this is very easy to do to anybody that you ever hear talking like this. When you go to sleep at night, do you lock your doors? Why do you lock your doors? Why do you not leave your doors wide open so that anybody can walk in? Because no one is illegal. If they trespass on your property, they are not illegal. You have said so yourself. What applies to the country applies to the individual. It does. That is how this works. You must take these things to their logical extremes. If it doesn't apply to you, it shouldn't apply to anyone. It shouldn't apply to the country. We have borders, we have walls, and we have locks for a reason. You live in a delusion of the way things ought to be. We live in the reality of the way the world actually is. Anyway, I don't want to give this any more air than I already have. There was one other thing I wanted to touch on real quick. Culture Casino talked a little bit about this in his morning show. And this is an article this is a news piece you should really be paying attention to. Ted Sarando tells U.S. Senate Netflix has no political agenda under oath. Netflix's kids content tells a very different story. He got kind of grilled as he was talking to the U.S. Senate. And it's not looking so good for Netflix. This is another example where reality does not match up with their impression for themselves. Sorry I'm late. Just got home, says CK, longest running superhero RPG on Earth. My friend, you should back this up and watch from the beginning, you personally. You will very much be interested in the article from that Park Place that I just read at the top of the show. Not currently linked in the description, but it will be as soon as I start rolling the credits. I'll go back and add these articles that I have referenced. The reason I don't always have the citations below at the start of the show is because I sometimes don't know what I'm going to be talking about until I get going. So Ben and Jerry's did the same thing. Guess what their HQ is built on? They shut up when the tribe asked them to give back the land. Yep. Oh, that's another thing. I will never buy Ben and Jerry's ice cream ever. In fact, when I was at the store just recent, oh, that's right, we did get some ice cream when we were at the store. We were looking, and of course, we were also going by price, and it's funny, these commies always have the most expensive stuff. The packages all have now late night hosts on it. The ones that are all losing their shows are all hawking the different flavors of Ben and Jerry's. Shouldn't be too surprised. They're all commies. They're all frickin' commies. I do think it is a good thing to know about the tribe that used to live there where you live. It gives you a sense of continuity. For example, I live in a former disputed Shoshone and Timpangonos territory. Yes, I've been doing some study of the Northwest territory natives, mostly because of my research into the lore of Twin Peaks and its connection to real world history. It's all very interesting. It is good to know, but those who don't know their history are destined to repeat it. And it seems to me like people like Billie Eilish don't know their history. They know blurbs and factoids they heard on social media. They didn't look at it closely enough. Heard about Eilish? No. Did you hear about Dean Cain? I know you were a big fan of Dean Cain. Go check that out. You need to check that out. But anyway, that is that. But this Netflix thing, this is going to be a bigger deal. And there's also been talk about CNN and a lot of pressure, not only from the government but from just popular opinions. Popular opinion polls are turning against so-called news outlets that clearly have a bias. It's like less than 40% of people actually trust the media these days. That is no bueno. That is absolutely no bueno. We the ideal is just the facts. Report the and look, even the ones that do the best about getting all the information out there, you listen to their language and it's biased language too. The opinion of the person reading it, or at least the person that wrote the copy that's being read. And that's not good. There used to be in school, we used to learn about loaded terms, about telling phrases that showed a bias, and how to remove bias from like a research paper, for example. They would hit us hard with that. They would hit us very, very hard. And some of my best teachers would do it as a two-pronged thing. One, they'd ding you if you showed a bias in a research paper, but then they would have you do homework assignments where you were purposely told to write to a specific bias, and usually you'd write one. You sometimes you'd be writing the same paper twice, one with a bias in one direction and one with a bias in the other direction, and then your final project would be to write the paper a third time with no bias. And it was really a way of illustrating to yourself and recognizing those things. They don't do that anymore. They want you to have a bias that they want you to have. It's very faint and partially covered in mold. It's only clear to see sunset where it's oh, wait a minute, I gotta go back. There's even some prehistoric polyglyphs in my area. Oh, yeah. That's absolutely cool. And see, the nice thing is that these days, you could like do a scan, like just taking pictures or whatever, and then an artist can go in, knowing what they know, and touch all of that up in the computer so that you could see it brightly as if it was restored. You don't actually have to physically restore it because you don't want to touch that. You want to preserve it the way it is. The latest polls show that 38% of people trust the mainstream media. Yeah, see, I said it was less than 40, so I was pretty close to spot on with that. So there you go. So I'm going to wrap it there. Today is Wednesday, which means the only thing that I know of that's going on tonight is Pop Culture Breakdown on Doomcock's channel. So maybe go check that out. Say hi for me. Let's see what else. Let me get rid of that and go back to the main stage. Why is this still here? I don't understand. There we go. What else? Tomorrow night, Netters Network. Charlotte Nightstar. Friday night, I got to get my list together for Boomer of soundtracks with great pop music, albums, that got radio play, that cross pollination of the music from the movies and the movies themselves. I trust YouTubers more than so-called real news reporters. At least they seem to take this with a grain of salt. Yes, and are usually pretty upfront about their biases. I admit my bias. I tell you right up front that I have a perspective, and you are free to disagree with me. And I am open to being convinced to look at things from a different point of view. See you tomorrow, Jonathan, of course. Keep an eye on your email, Troy. I'm working on something for Boomer for last call. Great. Yeah, the sooner you can get that to me, the better, because that allows me to, trim it up and get it queued into the studio and whatnot. But thank you so much for that. And I think with that, I'm going to wrap it up here. Tomorrow, I've got to be very disciplined about the end time for the show, because I have an appointment immediately after at exactly 1 Central, going over to record an interview with Pops on Pop Culture. So that's going to be fun. And yeah. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Like I was saying before, you guys really are the reason that I do this, the reason I can do it, the reason I can justify it. And it would be meaningless if I didn't have an audience to share my thoughts with. And I always love hearing your thoughts as well. So thank you, everyone. Have yourselves a great rest of the day and a great rest of the week. It's straight on to the weekend from here. Just remember to get healthy, stay healthy. Make sure you hydrate, hail hydration, and drink responsibly. And my friends, I'll see you on the next one. Salute.
Goodbye. Hope to see you again real soon.
Here's to the daylight, the drinks and the fun, our liquid lunch, till the next one comes. With a wink and a smile, we'll be back real soon, chasing that jazz under the high noon.